So let's get started with our Vajrasattva practice. And settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. Both your feet flat on the floor, about a hip's width apart, and your shoulders align with your hips, and your ears align with your shoulders. And you imagine you have this beautiful string of pearls of light that's stretching from the base of the spine all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just lengthen your spine. And then go to the crown of the head and just release any tension on your scalp, on your face, and the body. Hands can be just resting comfortably in your lap. Be aware of any sound in your environment, just allowing all of those sounds to be there, trying not to follow them with the mind. And then notice what's happening in your mind, trying to put some space in between your thoughts. Maybe bring to mind all the people of your life, so your loved ones, your strangers, the ones you don't like so much. Just bearing in mind that due to impermanence, these relationships can change. They can even change place. And then, think about, however you are thinking about any particular people at any particular time, they are all equal. They all want to be happy. They don't want to suffer. They all have this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we think we'll do this purification practice for all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. And you can just bring to mind that the people that we know of, who might need a little bit of an extra thought. So Lou and Kimberly and, forgive me if I've forgotten anybody. So we think there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, so equally we can change it by creating positivity instead. And we start, with this, in the context of this four opponent power. So we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you've done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. We experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we might experience. And we know from our present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And then also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the source or cause of why we harm others. And then think, well, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? And then here we come to this power of reliance. So we rely upon, we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. And we're not needing Buddha Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. And you can also imagine that this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this beautiful, radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. He has this beautiful, radiant face, and his eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all these people of your life. And he has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, and this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. And in order to develop compassion, so this is another little section under this heading of reliance, we need to rely on other beings. So we think about the beings we've harmed and have a wish for them to be free from suffering. And then we think about the beings who've harmed us. And we particularly wish for them to be free from suffering because the harm they've caused us is going to manifest as suffering for them sometime in the future. So then, we think we make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for all these beings and think, I must purify for their sake. And so then we come to the power of remedy, and this is the medicine doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely, and it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid, and this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Mebawa Situkaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Jida Meboa, Sitokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anarakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Jida Mebowa Situkaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sabosidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Jida Mebowa Situkaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sabosidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. And next, our speech. And imagine Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body. And this time forcing up to the top of the body. All the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip, the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Mebowa Situkaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sabosidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Mebowa Situkaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sabosidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Mebowa Situkaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sabosidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Mebowa Situkaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sabosidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Mebowa Situkaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sabosidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Mebowa Situkaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sabosidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Mebowa Situkaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sabosidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe. And again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And then we come to our mind and imagine Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So, you imagine you walked into a room, it's pitch black, you flick on the switch, and the light that comes instantly dispels the darkness. So you imagine just as the light hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachment, neediness, anger, depression, resentment, anxiety, jealousy, bitterness, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left as we recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Mebowa Sutukaya Mebowa Sepokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jita Mebowa Sutukaya Mebowa Sepokaya Mebowa Anarakta meboa sabasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jita meboa sutukaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sabasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jita meboa sutukaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jita meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jita meboa sutukaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jita meboa sutukaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe. So we're going to be delighted all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. So think now that there's no space in your heart except for love, compassion, kindness, forgiveness, wisdom, bliss, lightness. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time imagine that Vajrasattva very happily, again, sends light and it fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind. So you imagine the light, the nectar coming and pushing out all the negativity of the body. From the lower orifices, the nectar flowing up, pushing out all the negativity from the top. And then imagine the light coming and just blasting your whole, the whole of your consciousness. And then all those delusions completely eradicated, not one imprint of negative energy left on your mental consciousness, your continuum. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jita meboa sutukaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jita meboa sutukaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jita meboa sutukaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jido Mebowa Sutukaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Mebowa Sutukaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Mebowa Sutukaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Mebowa Sutukaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. So now feel completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to this power of resolve, and it's the fourth, and the final step in the purification process. And it's really crucial, this determination to refrain from harming, with our body and our speech and our mind. And we have to have a long-term view here that, we start little step by little step, but we're going to want to make sure that we don't harm long-term, period, again. So that we create the tendency, the habit for non-harming. And I think in Hindu, in Sanskrit, it's ahisma, something like that. So without having this determination, without this having kind of somehow in our, in our framework, in our mind, we're just going to keep doing the same old things over and over again because we have these very strong karmic habits. So this determination, this aspiration to refrain from harming becomes like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions. So think carefully, about what you would like to refrain from, even if it's for a year or a month or a day or even a minute or even a second, whatever's realistic for you. Excuse me. And then generally make a vow to ourselves to make an effort to avoid the other things. So this kind of determination, this, fully concentrated effort, and I'm going to do this, the plan, making a plan is going to help us keep a vow to ourselves. So imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us, wants to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown, and you think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So next, Rinpoche recommends to meditate on, these 3 circles of emptiness. In emptiness, there is no I, the creative negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So however you understand that or however you feel you can put that together in your mind, just sort of place your mind there for a little while in this idea of emptiness. And we can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy we've created doing this practice to all living beings and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So we'll get doing some of our chanting the names of Manjushri. We recited this whole text during our noondays. We did 20 verses a night. It went fast. We did it. Okay, residing in the mind of every being, having become their mind's equality, and satisfying the mind of every being, he is for every being great inner joy. Confusion free regarding points of doctrine, completely free from error in all its forms, his thinking free from doubt, his object threefold, his object all, three properties by nature. Throughout 3 times the content of 5 skandhas, discerning clearly each and every moment, awakening in but a single moment his basic nature equal to all Buddhas. That's it, 3. Okay, everybody. Thank you so very much. Let's have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for the swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and for all of your own individual teachers to live long. All right, everybody. Lots of love. Many thanks. Thank you for practicing while I was away. Thank you, Shayla, for hosting and for leading, and Lou for hosting if you hosted. And lots of love. I'll see some of you tomorrow morning. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.